Hello everybody, Mark Finan here in the home weather office on this Sunday. Right now it's around 11:30 in the morning on Sunday, November the 16th, 2025, and this is your Sunday briefing. We've had some nice rain in the last 24 hours. Some areas still getting some rain as I speak, and the Sierra getting some snow. We even have chain controls up today. And we do have another round of rain and Sierra snow on the way. So I want to talk to you about that to get you ready for the next round of rain, as well as look ahead through the rest of the week so you can plan your week around the rain and snow that we're likely going to see. This is the way it looks from the home weather office right now. A low overcast, a little bit of fog. The rain has ended. It's still sprinkling out there, but boy, we have had some really nice rain in the last 12 hours here, and I'm sure many of you have as well. I'll show you some rain totals here in just a second. Let's look at the radar. So let's go to radar. So this is off the Davis radar, and again, I'm recording this around 11:30 in the morning. By the time you're watching it, may look a little bit different. But what you'll see here is this line of rain making steady progress to the east. You can see individual cells along it are going from the south to the north. And then behind it, we have these few little showers. So I do think that the rest of the day is going to be somewhat damp on the west slope. And then in the high Sierra, it does turn into snow. For much of the areas around Sacramento, well, let's say from I-5 to the west, we'll stay dry with maybe some sprinkles, at least until tonight when the next area of rain comes our way. Boy, it has been pretty wet over the last 24 hours. Let's go to some of the rainfall totals. Actually, I'm going to start with the satellite. So you can see that here into the Bay Area and the East Bay, there are even some breaks in the overcast, but for areas east of I-5 and into the foothills and Sierra, it'll stay overcast throughout the rest of the day. Back here, this is the next weather system taking shape. A lot of cold air behind it, as you can see from this satellite. Boy, that's a classic cold air signature right here. And this line of clouds separates the relatively warm air that we're in now from the much colder air that is behind it. And it's that boundary that'll come in and bring us our next rain and our next snow. Let's go to Caltrans, and we haven't seen much snow so far this year, but that's the way it looks right now at Soda Springs. There is snow on the road. Let's see, go down here to Donner Lake, and this is the chain control point. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Let's see what it looks like at Kingvale. That one's not working. Is this one working? Yeah, so this is the camera at Kingvale. For some reason, I can't call that up full. But at Kingvale, so this is where they're chaining up. And as you can see, not a ton of snow, but up here at Kingvale, let's go up to Donner Summit rather. It looks pretty good. It has been enough for chain controls, obviously, and those will likely stay up. And then we'll have the next chance of snow come in on Monday. And let's just take a look at see what it looks like on Echo Summit. This road looks like it's in good shape. We had just a little bit of snow. So how much rain have we seen? For that, let's go to the California Nevada River Forecast Center. Somebody asked me about this the other day, about what site this is. So just type in Google CNRFC. It's the California Nevada River Forecast Center. As you can see right here, California Nevada River Forecast Center. And then down here, there are all sorts of options for rivers and reservoirs, snow data. And then I use this observed precipitation. Now, one thing that they do say is that these are raw, and some of them may not be correct. So sometimes you'll see a big number pop up on one of these, and it may not be right. I think there was a big number that popped up the other day somebody asked me about, and I don't remember it specifically. But anyway, what I've looked at here is 24-hour totals. So around Sacramento County, many areas around Sacramento didn't see that much, but the eastern part of the county was pushing up to 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And then you go into El Dorado County, and this is 1.5 inches. You look at Amador County and Tuolumne County, and again, this is just the last 24 hours, with some areas pushing over 2.5 inches of rain. It's been really, really productive. Let's widen way out because, boy, the areas that we were looking at to get a lot of that rain, we talked about that orographic lift going into the hills above Santa Barbara, the mountains above Santa Barbara. In the last 24 hours, 2 to 3 inches of rain. Over the last 48 hours, pushing 5 to 6 inches of rain. Over the last 72 hours, now you're talking about 9 to 12 inches of rain. So far, what I've seen is minimal issues here. Let's go back up because I'm going to look at the totals for areas closer to Sacramento. There we go. And I'll go out to 120 hours. So you can see around Sacramento, 2 to 3 inches of rain. The foothills, generally around 5 inches of rain. I don't know how well you can read these numbers, but I'm just staying on the wide. And I mentioned that sometimes a big number pops up. Like, look at this one right here, 14.96 inches. Everything else around it is around 4. So this is one of those cases that you just toss that out. Like, yeah, that ain't right. Pardon my language. So yeah, you just, if something doesn't look right, it's most likely not right. So when you look at this, you just go, you don't, if I was a nasty media member, I would say, oh, look at this place up at Bloods Creek. They had 15 inches of rain. Yeah, that didn't happen. I don't think that happened. Sacramento Executive Airport, 1.64 over the last 124 hours. 120 hours. Okay, so what is in store for the rest of the day and going into this next round of rain? Here's the HRRR, and that looks just about like what we just saw on the radar. Snow in the Sierra, probably around 6,500 feet. Scattered showers behind it. This is around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Let's go into the evening. This is around 7 o'clock tonight. Light rain along the coast, and this is the next weather system we're looking at here. Nice temperature gradient here. We have nice warm air here. The colder air is back here. There's the 540 thickness line. The system comes in tonight. This is 8Z, so this is midnight tonight. Rain with some heavier downpours. We'll talk about wind here in just a second. The best rain is done by the time we get to 6 o'clock in the morning, at least around Sacramento to the north. We have really good rain from El Dorado County to the south. Snow probably below 6,000 feet. So while chain controls may be lifted later on today, if they haven't been already, by the time you're watching this, by early tomorrow morning, they'll be back. So snow in the Sierra for your Monday morning. Then into Monday afternoon, as that cold air comes in, look where that 540 thickness line is now. So that signifies that you have very cold air aloft. Actually, let me just stop right here. Let's go to 500 millibar. Oh, it only has height and wind. Either way, you can see this deep trough at 500 millibars. I was hoping that this would have the temperature. It does have the 700 millibar temperature. And 700 millibars, which is around 10,000 feet, we are at minus 8 degrees tomorrow morning, whereas today we're at minus 3. So it drops quite a bit. And what that does is that cold air comes in, is it gives us instability. So we could be seeing some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Let's go back to the surface and let's go to this. And actually, let's zoom in a little bit more. My apologies to those of you in Southern California. I'm going to zoom in on Northern California because I want to talk about the chance of thunderstorms. We'll back up a little bit. So that main area goes through, the coldest air comes in, and then we see these cells here. And I'm going to go over to the COD, College of DuPage, because what they're doing here is they have a better representation of the Cape, how unstable it is. We have Cape around 400 or 500. Let's switch over to the NAM Nest. Let's see what that looks like. Similar. This is into the early and mid-afternoon. Cape up around 500, 600. Let's see what a sounding on that one looks like. This will take a second to generate. Come on. Come on. Come on. So what we're doing here is, for that one spot, giving you a 3D representation, a vertical representation of a virtual sounding. But as you can see, it's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Yep, finally. Okay. So we have a large area of instability here. Most unstable is 835. Lifted index down at -4. So that means that your parcels down here will be rising rather rapidly. The red line is your temperature, and this area right here, that area highlighted in yellow, is your area of best snow production. It's above 10,000 feet at that point. It's around 12 to 14,000 feet. The hodograph does not look good for twisting. So this says nothing in the way of severe, but what this would do is likely, let's see, where's the zero? The zero line's right here. So your freezing level's up around 7,000 feet or so at this point, according to the NAM. So once you have buildups going up to this range, you could likely be seeing some small hail. So these would likely produce some small hail. And let me back this up. This is 5 p.m. and it shows thunderstorms in Stockton and Lodi and Elk Grove and Wilton and Clements, places like that. However, keep in mind, also one maybe just east of Yuba City along Highway 20. Keep in mind you can't really pinpoint exactly where these are going to be, but it gives you an idea that in the valley we likely will see some of these thunderstorms pop up into the afternoon heating, and then they'll dissipate as we head into the night. So yeah, chance of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. As I always say, one of the things you should look for is whether or not there's going to be any clearing. So this is around 9 o'clock. Let's go to 11 o'clock in the morning. This is just looking at precipitation. Let's see what this says in terms of cloud cover. I haven't looked at this. It says it's mostly cloudy. 97% clouds, 37%. So this is kind of opposite of what you might think. These areas showing up in white are actually areas of clearing. What we'd look for, and I don't think this is going to be a great depiction of it, is more areas of clearing to give you a little bit more sunshine, a little bit more boost, but I don't think that's a really good representation. All right, let's switch over to the NAM. Go out a little bit longer in time, and let's go back to precipitation. And we'll zoom back out to regional view and all of California. All right, so here comes the rain and snow that we're expecting during the day tomorrow. Into the day on Tuesday, there's more rain in Southern California. This is Tuesday afternoon. Northern California is dry. And then this is Wednesday afternoon, still dry. To go out longer in time, we have to go to the GFS. And this shows that same area, so we're up to Wednesday afternoon. When's the next chance of rain? Shows another splitting system. All right, let me explain that here. So you see how the low is right here, and you have this line of rain, but watch how it just kind of falls apart as it comes inland, sinks to the south. Well, let's go here. This is the 500 millibar chart. Here's the low that's kicking out today. Here's the one that comes through on Monday. Then here's the next one. Watch how this splits apart. See, that's not a really good position to give us good rain. However, because it's another cutoff low, I wouldn't necessarily take this solution at face value. There have been some previous runs of the GFS that have brought this inland to bring us a chance of rain Friday or Saturday. But, you know, we'll see what happens because this is turning into another one of those cutoff lows. And then I will go all the way out to Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving Eve, that Wednesday, and this is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The models have been pretty consistent with this, keeping us generally dry through the Thanksgiving period, but obviously this is well out into fantasy land as well. So, what are we looking at? What's the bottom line here? Still kind of soupy for the rest of the day on the west slope. We're going to keep some snow, but light snow going at elevations above 6,000 feet tomorrow. We'll see rain in the morning. We'll actually see rain overnight. And then during the day tomorrow afternoon, there's a chance of thunderstorms in the valley. And also keep in mind there'll be chain controls in the Sierra on Monday, especially Monday morning. Then as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, those are going to be days of clearing. What happens with that next system coming down the coast Thursday, Friday remains to be seen. But right now, even if we do see any rain, it looks as though it wouldn't be all that great. However, keep in mind that that solution might change. I have very little confidence in what might happen with that cutoff low. There's a chance it could stay off the coast and miss us completely. There's a chance it could come inland and bring us some nice rain, maybe sometime around Friday. At this time of year, we just don't know, especially when we're dealing with cutoff lows. So just if you have plans Friday-ish, Saturday of next week, or later this week, I guess it is since today's Sunday, and just stay tuned to the forecast. In the meantime, just kind of a nice kind of soupy Sunday. Maybe make some beef stew or something like that. That's everything I have for you on this Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll talk with you later.